Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Fuserdamus and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Baldur's Gate, I guess not the Baldur's Gate trilogy. You see how long I did that playthrough. No, this is just Baldur's Gate 1 getting ready for Siege of Dragonspear. So before the video gets too long and a lot of people tune out, let me know if you want me to talk about this Gamergate and whatever else scandal with the LGBT shopkeeper or whatever. I plan on mentioning something when I get to that stuff, once I actually, know what everyone's all pissed off about. If you want me to talk about it before that and kind of give you my thoughts about everything, then let me know. But otherwise, I'm kind of going to let it blow over like everyone else should. So thank you for the user who told me that this is Mirian's house. This is who you give that letter to that you find to the south of Beargast. So I appreciate that information. I never knew how to finish up this quest. And it looks like she actually gives you a Ring of Protection +1. And that's pretty damn good.
Yes? Not a problem. It will be done.
Yep, I've done had enough of this.
Man, I really don't know what to talk about. I've been trying to keep up with this stupid scandal that's been going on with um, the interview that apparently pissed everyone off, and I don't know, everything else that's been going on. People getting banned from Steam and the Beamdog forums or whatever because of hate speech or something or other. I'm inclined to believe that some people deserved it because the internet is a horrible place full of horrible people.
I'm gone.
Not a problem.
But I don't know.
You're a queer fellow. I've done had enough of this.
Oh, Beamdog. I wish they would have just kept their mouths shut. Because even if people were upset about their writing or maybe the ham-handedness or maybe even the content, they should have just been quiet and let it all blown over and let the chips fall where they may. So that's basically all I'm going to say on the matter for now, unless you would like me to in the future. Um, like I said, when I get to that content, I probably will make a comment. Um, if people don't want me to, then I mean, I can avoid the whole topic with a 10-foot pole. But that's just been on my mind. I've been trying to keep up with it. It just makes me sad that the emphasis of the first expansion for my favorite game that's 17 years old um, gets bogged down in something that has nothing to do with the content of the game. Or if not the content, then the overall quality of it.
It will be done.
And from everyone or all the reviews I've read, or I've been trying to stay spoiler free for Siege of Dragonspear, so I haven't read much, but I've glanced at a couple of reviews, and from everything I've heard, is that Siege of Dragonspear is pretty good. A little buggy, but pretty good. And I am happy with pretty good for my favorite franchise of all time. I mean, I love Icewind Dale, and I would consider that pretty good. It's definitely not as good as, Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, but I do love it all the same, and I've played it more than once. I even did that solo run, which I should have recorded, but I didn't.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
My blade will cut you down to size.
I keep thinking back on that challenge run that I did, the solo fighter thief through Icewind Dale, and it left a bad taste in my mouth because I felt like it got really tough at the end, and I was annoyed that I didn't have high level abilities. But that's not really what put me off. It was simply the Heart of Winter expansion. I really didn't like Heart of Winter, and there's a specific part which most of you probably won't even remember because it's not a problem for 99% of characters. But there's a certain place where you can't kill these slimes without, I think, fire or acid, and I had no way to do that as my character. And there's so many slimes that my game nearly soft locked. Like, my frame rate was down to like 4 or 5 because there's so many, and I couldn't hardly get past them because they're clogging up the hallways and just making the game unbearable. It took me like 4 hours to get through this stupid area because I kept having to kite around these slimes so they would get out of my way so I could run past them and complete the level. And it's a huge, long level, and I don't know whether it's the slime's pathfinding that was causing the problem. I'm assuming it is, because the sprites in this game, I mean, are not super high res, and I don't imagine they would take up that much, processing power. But their pathfinding was getting stuck on one another, I'm assuming, and just bogging down my computer. So that has nothing to do with this playthrough, and I apologize for rambling about it, but it pissed me off, and because of that I will probably not do another challenge run of Icewind Dale, and if I do, I will certainly be skipping Heart of Winter because I didn't think it added very much to the game. I thought it was kind of a poorly done expansion. Didn't add much in the way of difficulty as far as I remember, aside from that bullshit. And then aside from that, it was, I don't know, the final fight in that area. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but it was underwhelming. I had no trouble whatsoever with it.
Nature's servant awaits.
And they kind of went crazy with the high-end magical gear. I mean, like, my character shouldn't have to have a minus, 18 armor class to avoid getting hit. It just, I don't know, it's so much more fun finding a +1 weapon when you have +0 or just mastercraft weapons. It's like the incremental increase between a +4 and a +5 weapon is just, it's not nearly as exciting as this beginning part where it's like, man, I really wish I had that second set of full plate mail so Minx wouldn't die all the time, or man, I can't wait to save up and get that, I don't know, the cloak of displacement, or something like that's really cool to be excited about that kind of gear. And the final fight in this game is very good. It's challenging.
Yes, O omnipresent authority.
So I'm not gonna talk about this stupid scandal that's going on. I guess you can kind of tell my my opinion already. I barely think it's worth talking about, but I will talk about my opinion of Beamdog in general. I mean, it's probably dangerous territory, seeing as they're a little squirrely right now, to say the least. But I like Beamdog. I think they have done some things poorly, and I think they've done some things quite well. One thing I think they've done poorly is implementing their new NPCs. I thought in particular Nira was very poorly done, and I don't have hardly any experience with her in Baldur's Gate 2, aside from I accepted her request to go into the Wild Forest or whatever, and then my game wouldn't allow me to complete that area because I don't know what it was. Maybe it was because I was trying to do the area without her in my party or something like that, but I wasn't able to complete that area, and it annoyed me that I was running around and I looked online and people were like, oh yeah, you just go up here and the door opens, or there's a cutscene that's supposed to happen, and then none of that ever happened for me. So that was frustrating. Additionally, Nira's implementation in Baldur's Gate 1 is really bad, because when you're getting to Beargast, particularly as a brand new player, more than likely you're going to be level 1 when you get into Beargast. Level 2 if you're really lucky, or if you're playing solo or something. But then you get into that fight with Nira. She color sprays indiscriminately and probably knocks out your party. She knocked out at least one of my party members even this playthrough when I was prepared for that fight. And then there's that mage that can cast mirror image on himself, and then he has magic missiles, and I think he has a Melf's acid arrow or two, and that stuff can one-shot you when you're at that low of a level. I think it was a really, really bad decision for Beamdog to put that particular encounter in that particular place. I thought it was really poor game design on their part. And that being said, Baldur's Gate 1 is a hard game, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of its charm, is that it feels dangerous to adventure. But it's so entertaining and interesting because there's something new around every corner. I don't know. I just thought, they should know better. There's things that feel hard but manageable, and there's things that feel unfair. And I felt like that combat with Nira, particularly since you can't position your parties properly, you kind of have to... you get put in place from the cutscene. It feels frustrating rather than fun.
I stand ready. It will be done.
So, I guess long story short there, I have been disappointed in Beamdog's original content. I thought it was bad. I thought Hexat was a very boring... She had a lot of potential, but she was not implemented very well. That's what I'll say about her. But the way that Beamdog has been a caretaker and an updater for the old content, I thought they've done quite well. They've stayed true to the spirit of the old games so far. Like I said, I don't have any experience with Siege of Dragonspear yet, but they've made mostly bug-free revamps of some of my favorite games of all time. Not some of my favorite games of all time, they are my favorite games. But I guess all in all, I'm appreciative of Beamdog's efforts and I'm willing to support them. Do I think they could do different things or do certain things better? Almost certainly. But I've been reasonably happy with their content. So here you see my strategy with leaving Jaheira up here, so she takes the aggro from all these little mini monsters, you know, the kobolds and the skeletons. Because she has such a good armor class right now, and she's wearing the full plate mail, then she has, like, I think she can't be hit except on a critical hit. Probably Khalid too, but the Ankeg armor is slightly worse than full plate mail. And since Khalid does more damage, at least I'm thinking he does at this point, I was pretty happy to take him down and try to burst down Mulahay before he had a chance to do anything bad.
I stand ready. It is certain that the
An open wound in Mother
I
Earth.
care not.
I would plug it had I the power.
yes, not a problem.
So I didn't remember that this ring Jaheira could use. I thought it was only for clerics. So that's a good find for me. I'm pretty happy with that. That makes her a slightly better healer, I guess. I don't use her spells for much else at this point anyway. She might get Dispel Magic at level 3, which is very good.
Stand ready.
She also gets the Insect Plague that I think you can resist, although that might be a level 4 spell. But she gets, I think, Summon Animals at the next level, which is not a fantastic spell, but it's worth mentioning.
It will be done.
It's such a shame that the summons for druids are so much worse than summons for, you know, clerics. And I guess I'm talking about Animate Dead in particular. I think Animate Dead is one of the most amazing level 3 spells. And I don't understand why it's a level 3 spell for clerics and a level 5 for mages, because even at level 5 it's a fantastic spell.
Yes, it will be done.
So here, you saw that I was going to leave the Moonblade there because my habit is not to talk to Zan or whatever you say. I just leave because he doesn't give you any experience for saving him. But since I thought maybe I would want to use him in Siege of Dragonspear, just because I kind of like his snarky little tone, despite the fact that he's an enchanter and you miss out on some of the, I think it's Conjuration is the opposite school, magical school.
My blade will
Despite that, I still actually quite like his personality, and I'm honestly picking my party for their personalities at this point. Aside from Imoen, I don't really like her personality.
Yes, I stand. Not a problem.
You're a queer fellow.
Yes. With ease.
So, you gotta be careful in that fight. Sorry I didn't talk about it while it was going on. You saw that I just shot a fireball in there, tried to burst them down. If you are playing...
I stand ready.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm playing pretty standard right now. This is kind of how you would expect a party to go through as. But I know a lot of people really like to rely on ranged weapons in Baldur's Gate 1. So if you are doing so, which is a very good strategy, by the way, a good way to do that fight is to just shoot arrows at the spellcasters, trying to get them to get interrupted, and then just 2 fireballs, and I think the entire fight is dead. So keep that in mind. I guess overall, if you have that fireball thing, then you really have nothing to worry about. You guys probably noticed that I forgot to give Kylie's dagger to Kylie down there in Nashkel. In the Nashkel mines, I should say. I obviously meant to do so because I took the quest, and I've done so without even thinking about it in my previous playthroughs, but I'm feeling a little rusty. This is the first time I've gone through Baldur's Gate 1 since you saw my last Baldur's Gate 1 playthrough, which was, God, 8 months ago. So, even if you know something like the back of your hand, it's okay to forget your hand sometimes. I don't know what that guy's armor class is, but I was missing on like 13s and stuff with my guys. You would think a mage would have something like a 5 or a 6 armor class. But I tried to kill him before he ran off, but I wasn't able to.
Yes? Not a problem.
So honestly, for the rest of this video, I think I'm going to let it play out. We continue exploring this area a little bit. We go and have the encounter with whoever the guy is. I think his name's Nimble, the one who ambushes you in Nashkel. We turn in some more quests like the one that wants the ring that you found down in the Nashkel mines. We go and sell some things. But overall, I think I'm going to let it play out. To be honest, I'm a little bit frustrated with the whole scandal dumb thing that's going on right now, and I'm a little off-put by Baldur's Gate at the moment. That doesn't mean I'm not going to play it, because I really enjoy playing it. I'm obviously going to complete this playthrough and complete Siege of Dragonspear, but I just don't really feel like I can talk about it right now without getting a little fired up, so I think I'm gonna not talk. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any ideas for content that you'd like to see in the future, or any topics for me to talk about that you'd like to hear my opinion on, I guess we could even talk about like me personally, although that's kind of weird. Not necessarily. Well, I guess it'd be kind of weird.
Yes?
But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll let the video play out. Hope you enjoy, and I will catch you in the next one.
Yep. I care not. I've done had enough of this.
Yes? It will be done. With ease. stand ready. With ease. With ease. Yes, it will be done. I stand ready. With ease.
Stand away, citizen!
Go riot with me. Proud of your actions. Not a problem. Helm watch over thee upon thy quest.
Perhaps this
with
will be
ease.
not quite
Gather
as
your
much
party
as I
before
thought.
venturing forth.
With ease.
You're a queer fellow. This way.
Hello there.
I've
Hello there.
done had enough of this.
Hello there. Hello there.
What you want? I'm gone.
Nature's servant awaits.
I stand ready. It will be done. Yes, not a problem.
Dealing with criminals jades a man's soul.
I am death come for thee. Surrender, and thy passage shall be quicker. I stand ready. It will be done. I am death stand ready with ease. It will be done.
Business has been poor, what with the iron shortage and all.
With ease, not a problem. Yes? Not a problem. Not a problem.
Never had friends. No sorry.
I stand ready. Not a problem.
Nature's servant awaits.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Hello there.
Yes? Not a problem. I stand ready. Not a problem. Yeah, not a problem.
Yes.
You have need of me?
You're a queer
Yes,
fellow.
You've attacked.
With ease. Yes, it will be done.
Can I assist you? Can I
Not a problem.
assist you?
I stand. Not a problem. With ease.
Oh, there was.
With ease. Not a problem.
I can make whatever you wish for a wee little bit more than me competition.
give him trouble.
Nature's servant awaits.
My blade will
For me, like, these men were just